And the mantra is very simple. What, so what, now what? So he can get to action faster because of the quality of the briefing that he's getting.
So really what you're talking about then is creating a culture whereby people are comfortable in not just bringing the what, but looking into it and saying, look, I believe this is how it's going to impact us. These are my recommendations for action. My name is Trevor Vanston. I'm an action-centered leadership trainer and I run Perspective HR in the West Country, and we operate right across England and Wales. Thank you for joining us for our latest podcast on this very big subject of leadership and how it interacts with the world of work. I'm joined again by my very good friend, Jim Hutton of One Life Coaching. Jim,
Hello,
good
Trevor.
afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
We are going to be looking at another big subject this afternoon, which is around effectively briefing your people at work. This is something I think that we need to spend a little bit of time on, because if you can get your group of people together, if you can outline the objectives, what is required, if it's a particular task, a project or a change at work, if you can get the team together and you can make sure that they've all heard it and that you're able to perhaps deal with any, insecurities or, in terms of the individual, if people are saying, well, I'm not quite sure what my role is, this gives you an opportunity to go around the room and just double check that everyone's okay with it. So if it's done properly, a briefing does enable you to do an awful lot of good work in a fairly short space of time. But of course, it's not as simple as just standing up and giving a best man speech or anything like that, is it, Jim? There's a bit more science to it. What are the key points for a leader?
Yeah. Thanks, Trevor. Well, I think we need to think about the whole construct of a business or an organisation, and that is about making decisions in order to get after things and get stuff done. And we tend to find in a competitive environment, those who are slow in making decisions lose, because the other guy thinks through it faster and gets the job done. And whether it's in app development or in combat in conflict, you need to have an effective decision-making cycle, which allows a staff, a team, to furnish their boss with all the facts to allow them to make a decision in a timely way, faster than the other guy, the competition, the enemy are doing about the same thing. So our enemy, one of our enemies is time,
Mm-hmm.
and we're always short of time.
Yep.
There's never enough time to do it, and you well know that. So a discipline in the process is really important. So I'll give you a mantra, and that mantra works both ways. It's in you briefing your boss and you briefing your team.
Right.
And the mantra is very simple. What, so what, now what? What, so what, now what? It's not rocket science.
It's a new one to me. It's simple, but I like that. Explain that to us.
So it's three things. What's going on? What am I telling you? Yeah, I'm giving you information that you don't already know. I'm giving you the what. The so what is, how does that impact us? So this is the first step of the analysis. You don't want to just give your boss facts, information. You want to do some analysis on it. So that so what question is that first step of the analysis. It's okay, this has happened. The so what is, it impacts us. It creates risk. It slows us down. It speeds us up. It makes us richer. It makes us poorer. We've lost people. We haven't lost people. Whatever it is, there's a so what to that thing that you have briefed. The now what is, what do we do about it? So it's your courses of action. It's your recommendations. It's your judgment as the briefer on what the options for the boss could be. So you're adding value. unfortunately, all too often, people are great at giving the what and then expecting the boss to do the so what and the now what. And he hasn't got time because he's getting 20 watts.
That's a high wattage.
Yeah, a very high wattage.
Yes.
And I've seen it, I'll see it. We have a commander's update brief. A commander will walk into an operations room and there'll be what we call a 2-minute drill where each member of staff, all the cells will give their briefing. And if all they give is the what, the commander's going, okay, I got 20 watts here. So what? You're not helping me, folks. You're just not helping me. You are drowning him in information, him or her in information that he is having to process, whereas the processing should have been done by the staff. So if 20 people go, this is my what, here's the so what, and the now what is, here's 20 things we could do. Now the commander can say, I like that, we're going to do them, we'll put priority on that, we'll phase it, we'll conduct parallel, he can do the next thing. So he can get to action faster because of the quality of the briefing that he's getting.
So does that require an element of courage as well? So if something has happened, let's say perhaps, there's been a failure on something at work in business, very often people immediately go and tell the boss, don't they? It's like it's a comfort, isn't it, to some degree? Are we saying then there's a bit of reflection before that? Where they go and say,
please,
hang on,
please,
exactly what has happened?
Yeah.
What are the implications for us so that you can go fully brief? And I guess, and I'm seeing a sort of analogy here with the coaching world, that if we then outline what the problem is, your mind sort of starts to tick forward to what the options are, aren't they, moving forward?
Absolutely. Now, there's nothing, in that disaster crisis scenario where, you've got to flow information fast. Absolutely. Call the boss, this has just happened. I'm figuring out the consequences. I'll get back to you in 2 minutes. Okay. Now the boss knows the what. He also knows that the so what and the now what are being worked up, so he can keep his powder dry. He might be phoning his boss and saying exactly the same. We've had a collision. We'll get back to you. So people are being informed, but we're in control. Rather than him feeling the collision and the guy going, well, I'm not going to tell the boss yet because I need to figure out the so what and the now what. That wouldn't work terribly well. So you can gradually release, but you give the assurance that you're on to the next thing, that you're not just going, oh, we've had a collision. That's not good enough.
I'm tempted to say that if anyone listening to this has been affected by some of the issues on this podcast, such as a collision on a ship, then really that's very bad luck, I guess. So, Jim, back to this. Do you see any barriers as to how somebody could use this method at work? So I could understand, well, I don't understand because I'm not a military person, but from what you've described, I can see in my mind how it works in that context. And from what you're describing to me, I can't see an obvious barrier, but is there anything that would stop somebody, or what would be the key to enabling this in a commercial setting?
Look, the barrier is self-confidence in the individual. So very much the role of the leader is to empower the individuals in giving them the confidence that, look, you are responsible for this area of our business. You are the deep expert in it. I want you to give me your point of view on the impact, the so what and the now what of what's happened. Because nobody else is going to give me it. Nobody else has the knowledge, the expertise of that bit of the business. It's you. So you tell me what you think. And I'll take that into account as I weigh it up against all the other points of view. But I need you to tell me the so what and now what. I don't want to have to make it up because I don't have that. I don't have the deep knowledge as the overall leader of, that HR stuff or that logistic supply stuff or that manufacturing stuff.
So really what you're talking about then is creating a culture whereby people are comfortable in not just bringing the what, but looking into it and saying, look, I believe this is how it's going to impact us. These are my recommendations for action.
Yes.
Because that would be a fantastically open culture to achieve that.
And not only that, and this is what I've done about it, can be, because I'm a big fan of act and seek forgiveness afterwards if you think you're doing the right thing, and it goes back to the intent. The intent of our organisation is to do whatever. It's to produce something. If the overall intent is to produce teddy bears, and what happens that stops us producing teddy bears, but that person on the plant line has gone, well, that's happened, it's stopping us, but I could do this and get it started again. So the what was, this broke. The so what was, we couldn't make teddy bears. The now what was, I did a bypass and got us going again, so we're making teddy bears again. That might be a short-term fix, and the boss can go, okay, that's great, well done. It's a short-term fix. We need to fix the bigger problem so that we can make teddy bears in the traditional way, not in the shortcut way. Yeah. But great job. Rather than, it's broken, we're not making teddy bears anymore.
And again, surely it's better for somebody to have the guts to look at a situation, make a decision and solve the problem, even if it isn't perfect. It is much more important to nurture a culture where people are prepared to do that. Yeah. Longer term. Yeah. I would say.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Jim, thank you for tackling yet another big question, and one literally that we all will reflect on. Thank you.
What? So what? Now what? Trev?
Thank you.
What you do, the effort you put in, is actually making a difference.
One of the biggest challenges for leaders at any level in an organisation is tapping into the needs, wants and motivations of the people in their team.
As a sort of coach and leader over time, I've seen a number of models. The one I like is actually called the 5 fundamentals of human motivation.